You're listening to Any Action Sportscast. Any Action Sportscast. So put your headphones on and let's take this podcast to the next level.
This isn't a podcast. It's a sportscast.
Welcome back to the number one sportscast in the world, where we give full card predictions and a betting breakdown. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn on those post notifications and share this video as well. UFC Vegas 98, Royval versus Taira. I'm looking forward to breaking down this card. But before we do that, let's go ahead and recap UFC 307 along with our picks.
Absolutely, bro. And it was a good night for the show, man. Your picks went 9-3 and your lock of the night won via knockout. That was sweet, man. And then my picks went 9-3 as well, and our bets went 3-1 for positive 3.35 units, man. Our only loss was Kayla Harrison's fight not to go the distance. We lost that bet, but she had her chances there early in that fight, man. Close chance, tough break there. We only put 0.75 units, so it wasn't a big bet for us, and it was at plus money. So other than that, we hit all three of our other bets. We hit Roman Dolidze at plus 140, had 1.5 units on him to win 2.1, cashed that as an underdog. Sucks to see Kevin Holland get injured like that, but hey, I figured Roman was going to be resting a lot in that fight. And yeah, after that we had Joaquin Buckley, bro, minus 200. He put 2 units on him to win 1, and he got that knockout over Wonderboy Thompson, man. I know a lot of people like Wonderboy, but I was super happy to see that knockout, especially considering I thought it was a close fight. But obviously ends with that knockout, and we cash our bet. And then Tisha Torres I think it was minus 160 on the money line, 1.6 units to win 1, hit that as well. Another super close fight, but I did think she was going to win the fight when she came in as the winner. I was super happy. So it's always good to be at the event and then win your bets, man. 3.23 units. It was a good night of fights. So this card's going to be great, man. A lot of live underdogs, a lot of really close fights in my opinion, a lot of upcomers on this card. So I'm excited to talk about these fights. So man, let's get right to it.
Any action, sportscast. Any action.
Opening up the card, we have Clayton Carpenter. He's a slight underdog at a minus 175. 28 years old, 5'6" with a 66-inch reach. And he's taking on Lucas Fenomeno Roca, a slight underdog at a plus 145. 24 years old, 5'3" with a 64-inch reach. FE.
Yeah, super good fight to start the card, but I am a little bit surprised to see Clayton such a big favorite. I do think he should be the rightful favorite, and this fight's interesting because, Martin, we're going to find out how Roca does against the grappling, man. Carpenter is good, man. He's actually a really good young up-and-coming prospect. Young green fighter, you could still say. Pretty hittable. Doesn't have the best striking defense. And this comes down to Roca, defending the takedowns. I think you had mentioned you were doing your tape and you saw him not doing so great. Martin, if you were to watch his last fight on Dana White Contender Series, this guy was getting suplex, bro. That's never good. He got suplex. Matt returned brutally. And I've low-key seen him be losing fights, and then he gets like a weird, not want to say fluke, but a weird flash knockout to where he wins the fight. So I mean, he does have a good sprawl, I'll give him that. The knockout on Dana White Contender Series came off a sprawl. He defends his takedown, guy comes up, knees him in the head. It was a clean knockout, I will say, but before that, man, he was getting whooped. I don't really see Carpenter having problems if he does get him down. I'm going with Clayton. I do think he should be the favorite, but he's still green in his career, Martin. I feel like that's a lot to ask of a guy that's minus 200 here against a pretty good athlete and a guy with a good finishing ability like Roca. I'm going with Carpenter here. I'm going with him via decision.
Any action, sportscast. Any action.
Next up on the card, we have Corey Poppins McKenna, a slight underdog in some books at a plus 125. 25 years old, 5'3", with a 58.5-inch reach. And she's taking on Julia Psycho Palastri, a slight favorite at a minus 150. 26 years old, 5'2", with a 63-inch reach. FE.
Yeah, man, super close fight here, Martin. And if we learned anything at UFC 307 is we can't trust these judges, man, and especially in women's MMA. In my opinion, they got 2 decisions wrong last week, with one card being a 30-27, which shocked me for Tisha Torres. But as far as this fight, man, I don't really see anyone separating themselves in this fight, like in one area. Like McKenna, I do think she can grapple in this fight, take her down, and really expose this girl on the mat. But on the feet, man, I think that she gets marked up, man. She's super pale, no offense, but like she marks up super easy, and it just doesn't look good for the judges. She's gonna be having to deal with these leg kicks here early in this fight, but I think she could do it, man. I'm going with the more proven fighter here. I do question the level of competition on the other side. I got McKenna via decision, but dude, it's not a bad idea to wait for that split decision prop and sprinkle some money there, because you don't know what these judges are going to be, seeing in that apex. So give me McKenna via decision. What about you?
Give me McKenna via decision. It's popping for me.
Any action, sportscast. Any action.
Next up on the card, we have Dan the Determined. Effie?
Argueta.
Thank you. He's a slight underdog at a plus 155. 31 years old, 5'7", with a 68-inch reach. And he's taking on Cody Haddon, opening books at a minus 185. 26 years old, 5'7", with a 69-inch reach. Effie.
Now, I know right there on the Tapology screen, you can see Dan Argueta being, 2-0 contests out of his last 3 fights, but he should really be 2-1, man. He got kind of screwed because his opponent tested positive for steroids, and then he got like a weird submission ending against a guy that, in my opinion, was a good win, man, that Ronnie Lawrence win. Argueta, Martin, what you got to know about him is he's a very good wrestler. Similar to that first fight we just talked about, this is going to be a fight between one guy theoretically getting tested big time in the grappling, in his defensive grappling in particular, and then from there, how does the fight develop? Because Argueta is going to be pushing the relentless pace. He's going to be shooting a ton of takedowns. On the feet, he isn't the best. We all know that, but he isn't like some sort of scrub, man. I've been relatively low on Argueta, but as he's been fighting in the UFC, man, he's improving from fight to fight, which I really like to see. But he's a solid fighter, man. Like I said, a very good wrestler, and he's very competent on the ground. But man, I think Cody's gonna get him, man. I like this dude striking. This dude is clean, man. This guy is quick. He throws thudding low leg kicks, and he's clean with his hands, man. He's defensively sound. He's only lost in his pro career, Martin, to our boy Steve Erceg, and that's no slouch, man. Erceg's fighting for the title these days, and he's a great fighter. So I know, Argueta 100% is going to want to grapple here, and he probably should have a grappling advantage. But Cody's a lifelong martial artist. He, has been doing jiu-jitsu since he was a kid. I think he's going to be safe, man. I think even if he does give up some back exposure in this fight, I don't think he's going to get submitted. In my opinion, Dan needs to win this fight via decision, and he needs to wrestle without getting tired. I think that Cody catches him at some point in this fight. Like I said, I really like his striking, so I'm going with the favorite here, man. I might even end up playing this, on the money line, because I do like his striking. I think it's that good, man. So I'm going with the UFC newcomer who just won an Ultimate Fighter. Was it Dana White Contender Series? I always get this mixed up. What about you, bro?
Me? Oh, before I give you my pick, do you have a mouse in your pocket?
No.
Oh, because earlier you said we think we all know Dan isn't good on his feet, man. Speak for yourself, man. What tapes were you watching, man? Dan is gonna piece up Cody all the way to the end, man. Cody is too slow. He's too sluggish. Dan is too much of a dog. I think he's gonna W key Cody. 3 rounds is nothing. I think Dan via decision for me.
Any action, sportscast. Any action.
Next up on the card, we have Nico the Hybrid Bryce, a moderate underdog at a plus 225. 35 years old, 6 feet with a 76-inch reach. And he's taking on Themba the Answer Gorimbo, a moderate favorite at a minus 280. 33 years old, 6'1" with a 77-inch reach. Effie.
Yeah, man. Themba Gorimbo minus 280. I expect that line to keep growing throughout the week. Definitely won't be surprised to see him be around minus 300 by the time the fight starts. I feel like he's going to be a popular parlay piece. And I like him, man. Definitely feels like the UFC are trying to push this guy. We all know the story with him and The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, how he sponsored him, and now he has a house and everything. He has a super inspiring story, but as a fighter, Themba is skilled, man. He's very good on the feet. Questionable cardio, which you never like to see, and questionable grappling as well. I don't really see him winning rounds off his back or getting submissions at this level off his back. And he's fighting a guy with a ton of experience, Martin. Nico Price has been around forever. He's fought the who's who. But I do think he's getting up there in age, man, and that durability is getting put to question here. So can he withstand a fight here against Themba? I do worry that Themba is a little bit too green for me to be laying, minus 3-1, on his money line or parlaying him. Although I do think he's gonna win this fight, man. Nico Price, got that win over Morono in his last fight where Morono was on short notice, and I had Morono there, but Nico showed up, good in that fight. He looked well for himself, especially at his age, and that fight was a pretty, good look in my opinion for him and where he's at. So It's tough, man. Like I said, the guy's experience, he's pretty good in all the areas where he's fighting a guy that's, an up-and-coming prospect in the UFC's trying to push behind. So I'm going to go with Themba to win this fight. I wouldn't be shocked to see Nico win a decision, but ultimately, I think the UFC's going to get what they want. I think they're going to get a sick highlight knockout in this fight. But Nico, man, he is a warrior, nothing but respect. Hopefully he's still around here, and continuing fighting after this fight. But I'm going to go with Themba. I'm going to go with Themba, second-round knockout. And I think that Martin is leaning towards Themba as well.
Any action, sportscast. Any action.
Next up on the card, we have Jonathan JSP Pierce, a slight favorite at a -135. 32 years old, 6 feet with a 71-inch reach. And he's taking on Pat Sabatini, a near even in some books at a +110. 33 years old, 5'8" with a 70-inch reach. FE.
Yeah, man, sick fight here. And basically, when I look at this fight, I'm asking myself, can Sabatini take Pierce's back? Will there be a grappling exchange in this fight where he takes the back of JSP? And I kind of think he can, man. I kind of think that if you give him enough opportunities, he can get that back eventually, man. Sabatini is a good grappler, man. Slick submissions, very competent off his back. The guy knows what he's doing, definitely in the grappling area in his fights. But to me, I think JSP is way better on the feet, can land way more damage on the feet, has decent enough volume to keep this close on the feet, and basically has to just defend the takedowns in this fight, do not end up on the mat. But it's not like JSP is some sort of bad grappler, man. I'm not saying, some horrible submission guy or anything, like he's going to get subbed immediately or anything. Like, he's a good guy on the mat for sure. I know he got submitted against Brito, but that was like a lack of fight IQ in my opinion, that one slip up in that moment in that fight where he taunted him, Martin just snuck his neck out, boom, got snatched. I don't think that's going to happen, especially if it already happened to you, man. Like before, I think that's a good lesson for the future. I don't think it's going to happen again. I'm going with the favorite, man. -135. That's having my eye, dude. I think that's worth playing here. I feel like just JSP hits way harder. Pat Sabatini is not going to be able to match him on the feet. And if Sabatini does get this fight on the mat, I think that, Pierce can hang. So give me JSP on the money line here. I do think that I'm going to get to the window on his money line. Give me JSP to win this fight via decision, or if not, finish this fight in that third round. What about you?
Oh, man, halfway through, I literally flipped picks, man. I was on Sabatini when you started, right? Then I was like, yeah, I like JSP, right? But to me, it's like if I really knew intel on how the camps went, if Sabatini had a good camp and he pushed himself and he had good people around him, good nutrition, a good weight cut, I like Sabatini. And I think the difference is going to be, that the striking of the legs, which will score him just a little bit more points, and he's got he's got a 2-inch slight reach disadvantage, and that's going to me, favor with Jonathan Pierce. I think he just, he throws pretty heavy. So I think, Pat Sabatini can go in and out and strike him all the way, to the third round. And like I said, I think it's going to come down to the leg kicks with this fight.
Any action, sportscast. Any action.
Next up on the card, we have CJ Ala Vergara, a moderate underdog at a +210. 33 years old, 5'6" with a 68-inch reach. And he's taking on Ramazan Timurov. He's a moderate favorite at a -265. 27 years old, 5'5", with no reach. FE.
Yeah, man. Let's start with CJ Vergara, the UFC fighter here on the left side of your screen. Man, this guy, in his last 4 fights, Martin, has missed weight half the time. Like, I don't like this guy. Like, yeah, he's decent. Like, he's actually a pretty skilled fighter, but bro, you gotta be making weight. I hate that when I see that from fighters. So for all we know, guys, if you bet on this fight, be careful, because one of these guys in this fight might miss weight. So I would definitely wait to see the weigh-ins if you're betting on Vergara. But man, this other dude, Timurlin, whatever this guy's name is, this guy is a beast, bro. This guy's striking is legit. It was really funny watching this guy's tape. He's making a UFC debut, so we had to go out and research and try to find his fights. And man, I'm watching this guy fight on these weird Japanese promotions, and he's just crushing people, Marlon. This guy is slick on the feet, man. He is very quick, very sharp. I understand why he's a favorite, because, man, I think that at some point in this fight, he's going to hurt CJ Vergara. CJ Vergara, man, he's super viral and super famous for that clip where he got hurt and then turned his back, Martin, and ran away from the opponent, man. This guy has high fight IQ, even though that was super bad and super funny to see. But all jokes aside, man, I think that this guy is going to knock out Vergara at some point in this fight. How do you say his first name? Ramazan?
Ramazan.
Give me Ramazan, bro. This guy looks like he's the truth. He has a funny looking flag behind him, man. A funny name from a weird part of the world. So I think it's the truth. Laying that, juice on him probably isn't the worst thing you could do on this card. I think the Vergara is going to be out of the UFC soon. Give me Ramazan to win this fight. Second round knockout. What about you, bro?
I'm also taking Ramazan Timurov.
Any action, sportscast. Any action,
Next up on our card, we have Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Wait, is that it's Bitty Bitty Bang Bang, huh? I just mixed them both. I did, huh?
Yeah, chitty bang bang.
All right. Next up on the card, we have Chitty Bang Bang Njikiwani, a slight favorite at a -185. 35 years old, 6'3", with an 80-inch reach. And he's taking on Jared the Night Chicka Train Gooden, a slight underdog at a +150. 30 years old, 6 feet, with a 77-inch reach. F to the E.
Yeah, man, mad respect to Gooden, man. He was in the UFC, fell on hard times, lost a few fights, got cut, and then went on the regional scene and earned his way back into the UFC. He's coming off a big win in his last fight. But man, like, these guys are a little bit too unreliable for me to be betting on. Definitely, you won't see me betting on the 35-year-old Chitty Njikiwani, who has a huge, massive weight cut down to this weight class at this point in his career at Juice. If anything, this is a dogger pass fight for me. I'd rather go with Gooden at the plus money odds than lay the juice on Njikiwani. Njikiwani has that tall, long reach, that long frame, that dangerous kickboxing, but he can be at times low volume, and it's very frustrating to watch him fight, and it's even more frustrating when he gets taken down. And in this fight, I don't anticipate Gooden to come out and just wrestle like right away, like the whole time, but I do expect him to mix it in at some point in this fight, man. It's hard to imagine, Njikiwani landing on Gooden without Gooden feeling uncomfortable and trying to shoot in this fight. So if he can get Njikiwani down, I think that he'll be looking like the favorite instead of the underdog in this fight. So a close fight to call, and I definitely don't want to lay the juice on Njikiwani. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Gooden, man. Give me Gooden to win this fight via decision. It's going to be tough, though. Chitty is dangerous. I'll give him that. He has that tall, long frame. Hard to get past that, and land on the guy. But give me Gooden, man. I think he has that wrestling advantage. I think he wins this fight via decision. What about you?
I hope Chitty got a ticket during the daytime ride, because he's definitely not taking the night train. I got Jared on this one. The night train makes Chitty go bang bang.
any action, sportscast. Any action.
Next up on the card, we have Josh Fremd, a slight underdog at a +125. 30 years old, 6'4", with a 76-inch reach. And he's taking on Abdul Judo Thunder Razik Al Hassan, a slight favorite at a -160 in some books. 39 years old, 5'10", with a 73-inch reach. Effie.
Man, I wish Judo Thunder wasn't so old, because I think he has a chance to decapitate Josh Fremd in this fight, man. I'm super low on Josh Fremd, man. I wonder if I'm going to go right back to the well and bet against him again, man. We bet against him against Andre in that fight, and he obviously lost that fight, and we won our bet. But this is a similar fight in the sense that he's going to want to grapple, but man, the threat of, someone like Andre Petrovsky in his last fight going into a fight like this now with Abdul, it's just way different, man. Abdul can crack. I will say he doesn't have the best volume, which is frustrating again to see from him. Like, man, he's like, dude, you hit so hard, like, go out there and you got to throw, but he has really good leg kicks, dude. Really good ripping body shots with those legs, and he can really fold you to the body with his leg kicks. It doesn't just have to be punches with this guy. In the clinch, he's strong. In the clinch, he knows where to be. If he does get put on his back, I do think that Josh Fremd will be able to pass his guard, gets a full mount, and maybe submit him or get some ground and pound off. But it's really one-dimensional, man. So I think that Fremd needs to grapple in this fight. I think he's going to struggle getting in close, grabbing this guy. If he does grapple, I wouldn't be shocked to see him have success. I know a lot of people are lowing him off, that loss coming up to Petrovsky, but give me Abdul, man. Give me Abdul to win this fight via knockout. Round 2, I think he clips him, man. I think he clips him good. Give me Abdul round 2 KO, bro. What about you?
Well, all you got to do is check the weather for this fight, and it's 100% Judo Thunder that night, October 12th. Judo Thunder. Give me the Abdul, the Judo Thunder, via decision or KO.
Any action, sportscast. Any action.
Next up on the card, we have Daniel D-Rod Rodriguez, a moderate favorite at a -205. 37 years old, 6'1", what a 74-inch reach. and he's taking on Alex the Great White Morano, a slight underdog at a plus 170. 34 years old, 5'11". What a 72-inch reach. FE.
Yeah, man, very rarely do you see the guy that's on a 3-fight losing streak come in as a 2-1 favorite, and that's what we have here with D-Rod. But let's face it, bro, you know, Neil Magny, Ian Gary, Kevin Gastelum, all those guys were top high-level guys in my opinion. I do like D-Rod in this fight, you know, and it sucks, man, because I've gone to the window to bet on Moreno a ton in his career, man. He's pretty smart everywhere. He has good volume, and he definitely has good cardio for the most part, but he came in on short notice in his last fight, and it showed, man. He faded big time. I thought he had all the skills to win that fight, but, you know, he was on short notice and took the call and took the fight and gassed out in that third round, lost the fight, but... Man, Moreno is skilled in his own right, but I just think that D-Rod's going to be able to touch him up and stay safe. I really like the footwork from D-Rod. I like the volume from D-Rod. And I don't think that Moreno is going to be able to out-grapple D-Rod for 2 out of the 3 rounds. If Moreno were to win this fight, I think it's going to be a grappling-heavy decision. And I just don't think that's going to happen to D-Rod. I think that D-Rod can keep him off him. If he does get him taken down, get up, and not get past, you know, full mount here, so, or give his back up. Give me D-Rod to win this fight via decision. I think he's going to mark up Moreno pretty much throughout the whole fight. I like the volume. I like the footwork. I like the range. I like the apex being a small cage here for D-Rod. Give me D-Rod to win this fight, finally get a win, you know, break that losing streak via decision. What about you?
Well, you know what you don't use to catch a great white? You don't use a fishing rod. What you use is a D-Rod.
Any action, sportscast. Any action.
Next up on the card, we have Grant KGD Dawson. He's a heavy favorite at a minus 400. 30 years old, 5'10". What a 72-inch reach. And he's taking on Rafa Gifted Garcia, a moderate underdog at a plus 300. 30 years old, 5'7". What a 70-inch reach. FE.
Yeah, man, Grant Dawson coming back, trying to get on the right foot after that KO from Bobby Green. You know, he came into that fight against Bobby Green, was a huge favorite, and ended up, you know, laying a lot of people down. Comes back against Joe Solecki, and now gets a little bit more of a step up because I don't think Joe Solecki was that big of a test for him. Grant Dawson's good, man. He could wrestle with the best of them, man. This guy has really good grappling, really relentless takedown attempts. But Rafa is no slouch in the grappling as well, man. I can see him stuffing some of these takedowns early in this fight, making Grant Dawson stay at range, and from there, making the fight look a lot closer than this money line. He's the biggest favorite on the card. We've seen this guy, you know, stumble as a huge favorite before, but I do think he gets on track here. I do think he does control this guy for at least a decision win without fading, or at some point submit this guy. I'm going with Grant Dawson to, you know, continue this, you know, upward trajectory after that loss and it'll really bounce back. So give me Grant Dawson, like I said, either decision or submission in this fight for me. What about you?
Man, give me Grant Dawson too, you know, but to back Rafa Garcia at plus 300 is not bad, man. I mean, he does look like a dog, you know. Dawson's going to have to take him down, you know, tire him out, probably the first round, maybe the second, and just give it to him, especially a striking on the feet. So, man, underdog, I liked Rafa when I looked at the numbers. Plus 300 is not bad, man, but I'm leaning Grant Dawson, but I wouldn't mind sprinkling a little bit on Garcia. Maybe he'll gift us a win.
All right, yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah. I had that one. Yeah, dude. That was good.
You got anything to say?
No, we're good.
You sure?
Yeah, dude.
That was good for you? In the co-main event of the evening, we have Brad Tavares. He's 20-9, a slight underdog at a plus 145. 36 years old, 6'1", with a 74-inch reach. And he's taking on Jung Young Park, the Iron Turtle. He's 17-6, a slight favorite at a minus 170. 33 years old, 5'10", with a 73-inch reach. FE.
Super close fight in my opinion, and this is a really close fight because I can see Park obviously having an advantage when it does reach the mat, but I can see him struggling to get this fight down, man. He looked really bad in his last fight, got taken out 11 times. That was definitely surprising to see. And Tavares, for the most part, in his UFC career, Martin, has shown really good takedown defense, man, and I think he can keep this fight at range and make it really interesting on the feet. One thing with him, though, for me, is he is getting up there in age, man. Now 36 years old, fighting the younger guy here in Park. I'm going to go with Park here, decision win, but it's going to be close, man. I think that line is a little bit wide. I'd probably land it as a pick 'em. And Tavares is a hometown guy, man. He trains at Extreme Couture down the street. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a close fight. Small apex cage probably does favor Park. I do think that his takedowns are going to come inside the clinch. I don't think he's gonna get open mat, single leg, double leg takedowns in the open area. I think Tavares will defend those well. So I think it's gonna be close, man. But I think Park edges it out a little bit. Too much control time here. Give me Park decision, bro. What about you?
If I have to ask one more time, where are my units? Where are my units? You know, if I had units, I would put a quarter of a unit on the under. It's at a plus 200 right now at the Station Sports Casino. I think it's gonna go under. And if I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna take Brad Tavares KO. I can't find it anywhere on here, but I'm gonna take it Brad KO, and I'm gonna take the under.
Nice, dude.
Any action, sportscast. Any action.
In the main event of the evening, we have Brandon Raw Dog Royval. He's 16-7, a slight underdog at a plus 165. 32 years old, 5'9", what a 70.5-inch reach. And he's taking on Tatsuro Taira. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's 16-0. A moderate favorite at a minus 200. 24 years old, 5'7". What a 70-inch reach. FE.
Banger, dude. Banger of a main event. Super high level fight in this fight. And it's a big test for Taira, man. You know, this guy's like a blue chip prospect, and he's finally getting what's really close to almost like a contenders fight. He's fighting for a belt soon if he wins this fight. But Brandon Royval is no joke, man. He's efficient everywhere in MMA, really good jiu-jitsu, black belt off his back. When he does get mounted or taken down into full guard, he throws elbows. He's active off his back. He's very wild and wiry on the feet. I will say he is a little bit fragile. He seems to be getting hurt in a lot of his fights. But dude, in his last fight, he schooled Brandon Moreno. He looked like $1 million in that fight in enemy territory at elevation, and that was a really good performance for him, man. He's coming off a fight where he's looking career best, and he comes in at plus money. So, like I said, it's a big step up in competition for Taira. But bro, Martin, I think Taira is the real deal. This guy can strike really good, quick striking combinations on the feet. And on the mat, this guy is a wizard, dude. In the grappling in this fight, I'm giving the edge to Taira. If they do end up in scrambles, I'm giving the edge to Taira. Man, I'm super confident in this kid, man. I know he's a little bit young. I know he's a little bit green, coming in as a 2-1 favorite here in his biggest fight of his career. But I'm going with Taira, man. I think he steps up to the plate, hits it out of the park again in the apex. So I think he's going to win this fight, man. I'm going with Taira round 3 submission. What about you?
Well, I don't know how the UFC works, but at my job, we have sick time, paid time off. I think Brandon should use it in this one, It's Tatsuro for me, I think Tatsuro goes Naruto on Brandon. And, they call him the Raw Dog. I think on this fight, Effie, he's going to have to use protection. He's going to have to use protection or he's going to get pieced up.
All right, yeah, dude, I agree. Looks like we're both on Taira here in this fight, and so that'll do it, guys. That's all of our predictions for this fight so far. It looks like JSP or Cody, my boy, fighting against Dan Argueta will be bets. I haven't bet them yet, but those two are the money lines that I'm looking at, and we really appreciate you guys watching, man. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, comment, let me know who you were betting on this card, and we'll see you guys next week, man. Peace.
Action. Sportscast. I'm your producer, Martin, joined by your local